must not give credibility or credence to the artificial boundaries that exist in our region, a product of a conference in Berlin that had nothing to do with us.
That is at the forefront of the fight to remove African borders, and this is evident through the actions of its current and previous presidents. Before I show you President Ruto's remarks, the former president of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta, has previously spoken about the need for Africans to open their borders since they were not created by Africans in the first place. Here is what he said a few years ago.
And as I was telling another gathering, these borders, and I also mentioned to my brother, these borders that you create silos for yourselves amongst, you must always remember, are not your creation. These were creations of people outside of this continent who made these borders not to develop you, but to extract from you. Now that you want to develop yourself, we must start looking at these borders and we must start removing the barriers that we have put, that have defined us in the past, and now hinder us from being the giant that we should be.
This week, the Kenyan president has been vocal about removing barriers in Africa to promote trade and growth within the region, and here is what he had to state.
We must not give credibility or credence to the artificial boundaries that exist in our region, a product of a conference in Berlin that had nothing to do with us, that partitioned our continent and allocated us boundaries that have since become roadblocks and impediments and barriers to the movement of people, the movement of goods, and it is our responsibility in this century to tear down the barriers, to convert the boundaries into bridges, to change the roadblocks into stepping stones so that goods, services, ideas, people can move and we can benefit from the myriad of good ideas in different parts of our continent. This is a continent of great possibilities and opportunities. These opportunities and possibilities are hindered by bureaucracy, red tape, regulations, and many things that impede our collective progress. I told our teams earlier, we cannot share poverty, but we can share wealth. And we need to work together to create wealth. And we must eliminate the barriers, the hurdles. Our borders must not be walls. We must turn our borders from being hurdles to being bridges. We must turn our borders from being hurdles to being facilitative so that we can do trade, we can do business, we can make investment, and we can move people, goods, and services freely in our continent.
It's great to see that this fight to open borders is starting to pay off, as evidenced by the East African community's decision to use a single passport to promote growth, movement, and trade within the region. Without you, this channel will not grow. If you have learned something from this video, kindly hit the subscribe button and like this video so that we can be able to educate more people around Africa.